All opinions or statements expressed on the program are solely those of Investors Schooling or their guests and do not reflect the opinions of WPHT or Odyssey.
WPHT, WPHT-HD, WOGL HD3 Philadelphia. From the Cherry Hill Volvo Studios, where relationships matter. Always live on the free Odyssey app. This is Investors Schooling Live with your host, Larry Steinhouse, CEO of Investors Schooling.
All right. Good afternoon and welcome to Investor Schooling Live. I came on a little early, so the music didn't play out. Oh, well. Investor Schooling Live is transmitting from the Investor Schooling Studios here in the Investor Schooling headquarters. I am Larry Steinhouse, and I am the CEO of Investor Schooling. And I want to thank you for listening. Get ready to learn real estate investing, stock options trading, and so many other things about money that I bet you didn't know. Hey, you can call us anytime during the show. Write this phone number down. 855, or put it in your phone, 855-939-1137. That's 855-939-1137, and we'll take your call about anything that we have to do today, anything you want to talk about. We're a live program. We can take your call anytime, and today is Saturday at 2 o'clock, and we are transmitting live 3 days before the election. I can hardly wait. Don't worry about the topic. We'll take your call about anything that has to do with money, finance, or even politics. We are also live on Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, and YouTube, and you can leave comments there as well. Hey, if you're watching online, please say hi. It's really the only way I know you're watching, and when you make a comment, I can know you're watching. All right, cool. All right, at Investor Schooling, we teach real estate investing, stock options trading, how to save money and taxes, how to be financially free, and we even give you the motivation to make money work for you instead of you working for money. Investor Schooling is located in Bucks County, Pennsylvania, right off the Newtown Bypass, serving the New Jersey and Greater Philadelphia areas in a real brick-and-mortar building. Our students are here, and they're also located in several states with our exclusive web access to our classes and seminars. Get ready to learn real estate. Get ready to learn something new. Get ready to learn the business of entrepreneurship and stock options trading and everything that has to do with money. And you'll be learning that from your friendly neighborhood financial expert. That's me, Larry Steinhouse. All right. I'm so excited you guys are here tonight. I haven't seen you guys in such a long time. I haven't spoken to you guys at this time. And I haven't spoken to my really good buddy. Who's my really good buddy? That's Glenn Page. Glenn, say hi.
Hey, what's up, Larry? Welcome back, sir.
No, it's not welcome back to me. Welcome back to you. You know, I've been here. You just haven't.
I've been around. I'm lurking around. I'm always watching you, Larry.
All right, well, that's good.
I'm always around.
I know. I watch you on TikTok. By the way, if you want to have some fun with TikTok, go to Glenn's TikTok and watch Glenn's TikTok. It's pretty good. Anyway, so real quick, we have to make sure that everybody understands. They could call at 855-939-1137, 855-939-1137, 855-939-1137. Today is going to be a special edition of the Investor Schooling Live Show. We're going to be talking about the upcoming election. What do you think of that, Glenn? You think I'll be thrown off the air for that?
It depends on what you say. You are a little bit of a loose cannon, Larry.
Me? A loose cannon? No,
Just a little.
Never. Couldn't possibly be me. I was just thinking back. I was thinking back, and we did a show. And it's funny, we did a show with my former partner Phil, probably 4 years ago. Maybe it was 4 years ago when I guess it was 3 years ago, because when the entire world was shut down, and we did a show, and we had Doug Mastriano on the show. And he came in, and this is before he even decided he was going to run for governor. And we had this whole interview with him about the lockdowns and the shutdowns and all that stuff. Hey, do you remember being locked down and shut down, Glenn?
I have a vague recollection.
Yeah,
of course I remember. Of course.
No, I know, but I'm afraid there's so many people out there who forget. They're trying to forget. It's amazing how much they've forgotten.
And they're also trying to gloss over how it went down. A lot of people are trying to gloss over exactly how it went down.
Oh, absolutely. So I don't know if you were on producing our show at the time, but we had a bunch of funny commercials that we made. And we made some of these commercials based on the lockdowns at the time. And the reason I'm bringing this up is because I'm really, really angry at what the Democrats did to us, and I'm really excited about the possibility of a red wave. But I'm just looking at some of this stuff, and I'm laughing at some of the old commercials we ran. I got to run this commercial for you. You'll get a kick out of it. This was during the lockdown. This is when everything was closed. So listen to this commercial. Hey everybody, it's Larry Steinhouse from InvestorSchooling.com. I am inviting you and, most importantly, Governor Tom Wolf to attend this Thursday night. I'm going to teach you and Governor Tom Wolf real estate investing and stock options trading. We might even pull out the Constitution and read that as well. Looking forward to seeing you this Thursday night at InvestorSchooling.com. That's right, RSVP right now on InvestorSchooling.com.
That whole ad was political.
Was it? I had no idea.
Did you say anything about real estate or stock options? Did you?
Yeah.
So
I was around for that. I remember
that commercial.
That was funny.
It was,
that was funny.
I know. Hey, I
do
and,
remember.
and there was another one too. This was this one. Hey everybody, it's Larry Steinhouse from InvestorSchooling.com, and I want to report a crime. That's right, a crime. I want to let you know that Investor Schooling will be open this Thursday night at 7 o'clock, and I will be there. That means I open my business, and that means I will be there. That means that I committed a crime. If you want to commit a crime and you want to learn real estate investing and stock options trading, come to Investor Schooling this Thursday night. Go to InvestorSchooling.com and RSVP right now. InvestorSchooling.com. See you there.
Police officers get in free.
And police officers get in free.
Who was that in the back?
That was Paul. That was Paul. We've had him on the show before.
Yeah, I
So,
remember Paul.
Yeah, so Paul was recording the commercial at the time. But I just had so much fun with this, and I remembered this, and it got to the point where I realized that this is terrible. It's absolutely terrible what they did to all of the businesses, what they did to the people, what they did to students, and made them go through this wearing a mask and the shutdowns, and they couldn't go to school. It was horrible what they did, and here we are. We have 3 more days before we get to vote, and when I say vote for freedom, we get to vote for freedom. And it's so sad that so many people out there have forgotten this or didn't care. I mean, the ignorance of, well, they did it for our own protection. That is, oh my goodness, that is so Nazi-esque. I cannot believe that there are people out there that actually feel that way. And then there are people like on the fence. Well, should I vote for Mastriano or should I vote for the city of Shapiro, right? And it's like, why would you even think of a choice? There's no choice. The only choice here is Mastriano, because what's going to happen? He's going to make sure this never happens again. That's all he did, was fight for that for 3 years. He fought for that to never happen again. And that's how he rose up and became the grassroots candidate. Ugh, it's so sad. I don't know. I got to call you out, Glenn, because we had a conversation before. Are we going to have this conversation?
Sure, if you want. Just be nice to me.
I'll be nice to you. So Glenn informed me before we always have
Be
this
gentle,
conversation.
Larry.
What? Be gentle?
Be gentle.
All right. I will. I'll be very careful with you. Okay?
I'm a delicate flower,
Do
Larry.
you feel better now?
Yes.
Okay. So we always have a conversation before we go on the air. We have a little bit of fun. We talk about things going on. We're preparing for the show. And Glenn informed me that he doesn't vote.
I don't vote.
He doesn't vote. Now, 855-939-1137 is the phone number. 855-939-1137 is the phone number. 855-939-1137. 855-939-1137. Now, when you call, you have to understand that Glenn's going to answer the phone. Don't berate him until you're on the air.
Yeah, you can go at it once
So you
you're
can
on the
basically
air.
say, hey, it's Steve from wherever calling, and Glenn will say, okay, and he'll put you through. Then you can berate Glenn. You can't berate Glenn because there's no fun. Nobody will be able to hear it. All right? So he's not going to vote. 855-939-1137. 855-939-1137. So why do I care so much about the elections? Obviously, it's horrible what they did to people. It's absolutely horrible what they did to people. But you know what? Here's something else. Hey, remember, I'm into making money, right? And if you want to be able to make money, believe it or not, I hate to tell you, but Republicans will help you make money. Democrats will help you pay taxes to give people who don't want to make money their money. Now, again, I don't even care. I've said this over and over again. My goal is just to pay less taxes. I just don't want to pay. I don't want to pay as many taxes. I don't really care what the government does with my taxes. I don't care if the government takes my taxes and buys, and buys a whole bunch of illegal aliens lunch at the border. I really don't care, because if they cut that out, my taxes aren't going to go down. So I don't really care. So my goal is to pay at least the amount of taxes, and that's some of the things that we teach in investor schooling, is how to pay less taxes. By the way, just
But
something
wouldn't
else.
you like
Yeah.
to think that? Wouldn't you like to at least think, Larry, that some of your taxes are going towards something that you endorse? And you're saying, I just
care.
don't care across the board.
No,
They
I
don't
simply
care.
don't care. I simply don't care.
Okay.
I really don't, because I know that it's just like, and I hate to say it, but whether you want to be altruistic and say, "Oh, I'm so glad my taxes go to something important," BS.
That's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying if you have to pay them anyway, you would like to think, okay, it's going somewhere I care about.
Nah, I don't even think about it. It's like my credit card fees. Like when if you own a business and you have to pay credit card fees because the credit card company is going to swipe your card and take 3% of your credit card fees. I don't care about either. That's the price of doing business. So to me, it's the same thing. To me, it's the price of doing business, the price of making money. One year, I tell this story often. One year, it was 5 or 6 years ago. My accountant turns the page to me and he goes, "This is what you're paying in taxes." And I looked at him. I go, "Oh wow, that's what I got to pay taxes on?" He goes, "No, this is what you're paying in taxes." I go, "That's fantastic. How did you get that number down so low that that's the number I have to pay taxes on?" He goes, "No, you don't understand. This is the number you're paying in taxes." Now that number was big. It was big, and I tell you, I actually felt faint for the first time sitting across from my accountant's office. Like, holy cow! How am I going to pay this? I mean, huge number. My tax payment on that year was more money than most people make in the United States. That blew my mind. But at the same time, whatever. He looked at me and he said, you should be happy about this. And I'm like, why? And he goes, because if you haven't paying this much in taxes, that means you made a lot of money last year. And the fact was, I did, but it was just a shock. And now I'm used to it. Now I've actually had higher numbers than that, and I find it interesting. Matter of fact, when I get a tax refund, actually I'm getting a tax refund this year because I had a bad year in the stock market last year, but that's life. I'm getting a tax refund this year, which is the first time I've ever got a tax refund in probably 12 years. And the funny part is, when I get a tax refund, that means I had a bad year. So to me, a tax refund means you had a bad year. By the way, if you want to call in, there's a couple of people online like Sal and Betsy. If you guys want to call in, feel free to call in. 855-939-1137. 855-939-1137. 855-939-1137. 4 more times, right? 855-939-1137. 855-939-1137. See, it always works. We got Tony in Holland. What's going on, Tony?
I like how you repeat that, Larry. It's like the Democrats. You keep saying things over and over until you believe in the lie,
Oh, absolutely.
And I want to ask Glenn. Glenn, how come you don't vote? Glenn?
Well, okay, I only have a second here because I got to do something. But no, really, I do. But in a nutshell, it's because I believe in voting my conscience. And I'm not a big fan of holding my nose and pulling a lever. I was telling Larry real quick before the show started. I was telling Larry,
you know what?
Wait a minute. Whoa.
Okay. Tony, let him speak. Let him speak.
25, 30 years ago, before we knew Hillary was going to be running for president, and before anybody knew Donald Trump was going to be running for president, I hated both of those people with a passion, personally. So you're expecting me 25, 30 years later, like, well, this one's not so bad. And look, I get all the arguments you're going to make. I understand them. I'm just telling you I believe in voting my conscience. I don't like either of those people at a fundamental level.
Okay, so we're talking about Mastriano and Oz now. You got to like these people. And if you haven't, I will introduce you to them. They're awesome people. I've met them both. I hang out with them both. They're awesome people.
I believe you, but I got to take a call.
All right, you take the call. So, Tony, you still there? Did we lose you?
Yeah, I'm still there. All right, I thought you were going to give me that excuse. I don't want to be part of jury duty or something. Okay, I respect your answer.
So I have a question for you, Tony.
Yeah, you know what? I want to ask. What's that?
I have a question for you, real quick. So if he doesn't vote, is he allowed to complain?
No, not at all. You're right. You're right.
I know. That was a question I was asking you. That was a question I was asking you. I don't agree with that. I actually think he's still allowed to complain. I just think that he doesn't understand that he might be able to make a difference.
Yes. Okay. Well, I don't know. I just hate when people complain a lot and they don't do something about it. You know what I mean?
Yes.
If you want to complain on something, do something about it. Be active. That's all.
I agree. I think you should vote. I also think one of the problems with the voting right now, and everybody listening to this, is you all think that the vote is going to be fraud or the vote is going to be, going to be cheated or whatever it is. And here's the deal. Look, it may be, it may not be. But if you don't vote, then they win. Okay, if you vote and
That's right.
there is cheating and they don't win, and your side doesn't win, at least you tried. But if you vote
Yes.
and they don't cheat, I'm sorry, if you don't vote and they don't cheat, then you absolutely gave it away. So I'm going to tell you to vote no matter what.
I got to say one more thing. I saw a commercial with Governor Wolf about the mail-in ballot, and he's saying it's too late to do it now, but you can go to the polling station and mail it in there. Like, why don't you just mail in person? I mean, just vote in person.
I know.
I don't get that.
I know.
I don't get that.
Man.
That's like the most. It is insane. My sister says it's because of COVID still.
Yeah,
people are afraid that and long lines.
So I don't know if you know this. I have another show that I do during the day. I have a show called Money Chat Now that I do every day at 7:30 in the morning on the internet. And I had a rant the other day, and I might play it before the end of the show. So it depends on how late we get. But it's about a 6-minute rant about voting and about how Biden said that the MAGA Republicans don't know what to do. You would get into it. We'll have to see if I can do it. But let me do this, Tony. Any other questions that you have about money or anything else?
Thank you.
Do you have any questions about money or anything?
No, that's it.
Thank you, man. I appreciate you calling.
I'm pretty good.
You want to beat me up some more?
Excellent. No, he's not going to.
No,
beat you
you're
up
okay,
anymore.
Glenn. I still like you. Glenn, I still like you. I still like you.
You would think Glenn, who goes into Philadelphia every day, would do everything he can to change the regime so that maybe his commute would be a little bit safer. Oh man! But anyway, it's up to you, Glenn. Just do me a favor. If you do get mugged, make sure you show up for my show, though, because you're the best producer I have.
You got it.
We got Rob also in West Deptford. What's going on, Rob?
Oh, yeah, hello. I might lose you.
Okay. I think he just did. Wow, that was pretty interesting. That was like one of those things when you call when somebody calls you and you don't want to talk to them, you go, "Hey, my battery might be dead." Click. unless I lost everybody.
He should still be there. He should still be there. No?
Rob, you're apparently still there, but we can't hear you.
Rob, he's giving us the silent treatment.
All right. Well, he doesn't like us, I guess. All right, Rob, if
he's
you want
mad
to
at me.
try to
He's
call
mad
back.
at me.
What did you say?
I said he's mad at me.
Oh, I'm sure he is. Everybody's mad at you. Right. I don't blame him. Anybody else want to call? 855-939-1137, 855-939-1137. And we're talking the elections today. I realize that, I normally talk about money, but we're talking about the elections, and there is a reason for this. And again, I've said this over and over again, that the economy will do better with Republicans in than it will do with Democrats. And that's very, very obvious. I mean, it's so obvious that right now we're seeing the Biden inflation. We're seeing the Biden messing the whole thing up. It's pretty wild. And actually, there's an article on CNBC that I was reading this morning that I thought was great. And the title of the article is "The Market Could Be Anticipating a Republican Sweep of Congress in Tuesday's Election." So have you noticed that the last I don't know, maybe 8 sessions or so, the market has been on fire? That may be the reason why the market's been on fire, is because they're expecting a Republican sweep. Now, the interesting part is there are stocks that won't do so well in a Republican if the Republicans win. And believe it or not, I'm going to say that some of those stocks might actually be the defense stocks, because I think we're going to pull back on the Ukraine war. We're going to stop giving them as much money or as much as we've been giving before. I actually think that would be smart. I actually think we're keeping that war going. Now, I feel, and please understand that I feel all sympathy for the people in Ukraine. I think what Putin did is horrible. I think Putin's a horrible man. I think Russia's stance on this is ridiculous. But this war continues because we keep funding it. And I think that's a major problem. I actually think that if we stop funding it, now these guys have to come up with a solution. If we keep funding it, all that it does is push off the solution and cause a whole lot of money to be spent and more buildings to be destroyed. Look, in the end, unless Putin dies, accidentally or purposely or of old age, this war is going to go on until that happens. Unless the Ukrainians just say, okay, fine, what do you want? And they give them what they want. And that will save lives. I hate to say it, but it will save lives, because it's sad. And again, please understand that I have all due respect for everyone, including the president over there. All right, but getting back to that, the fact that there are certain stocks that will definitely drop. Oh, you know what? Really cool. My good friend Jim Worthington is online. Hey, Jim, what's going on, man?
Hey, Larry, just checking in. I heard you were going to be on today. I didn't know what you were talking. Your topic was, but if it was anything to do with the election, I wanted to weigh in and see what you were doing.
Hey, you know what? There's two people I want to win, like really, really bad, which is Dr. Oz, who you introduced me to, which I really thank you for that. That was probably one of the highlights of the people I've ever met in my life. Not because he's Dr. Oz, because it's funny. I never watched the show. I could care less who he was. But when I met him at your gym, when you had the introduction to him, he spoke so well, and the promises that he made touched me on every single thing that he talked about. And I pulled him aside because I was still concerned. I'm like, I really want to know if this is true. I remember you pulling me away. He's got to go. But at the same time, this guy, and if anybody's on the fence listening out there, I've sat down with this guy. I've spoken to this guy. He is awesome. And I know, Jim, you're a big fan of his too. I don't know. What do you want to say about him?
No, I just, I echo that. I've known him for 6-7 years. I served on the President's Fitness Council. We're both appointed together with him and Herschel Walker and a couple other celebrity athletes. And, I know him very, very well. I mean, he's a brilliant man. Yep. And I think what is really amazing about him, he's such a kind guy. He respects everybody, and look, he's given up $25-30 million a year show to serve his country. I think he's crazy. I mean, I wouldn't do it. I
agree.
He went for America's Doctor a year ago to, everybody loved him, world famous to, 50. Well, hopefully 49% of the people, not 50, but 49% of the people that don't like him now because all of a sudden he's trying to get back to his country. I mean, the bottom line, you got to respect the guy. He's been nothing. He's really an American success story, and I guess that's what pains me. It used to be in America when you achieved these highest levels, you were looked upon as somebody that worked hard and did something good. And here now they just kind of victimized him the other side, and it's sad because everything they say about him is a lie.
Oh, I know. Some of the things that they say are hysterical. But then you've got, and I found it funny because they finally had the debate, and of course we all made fun of Fetterman saying good night when he came in, but most people didn't catch something else he said. He said he actually whined about the fact that Dr. Oz put $25 million of his own money in to the election. And I'm like, why? And he made that to be a problem. But if you actually go and look it up, because this is all public information, it's on the internet. If you look to see how much Fetterman put into his election, do you want to know how many dollars Fetterman himself contributed to his own election?
Probably zero.
It was exactly zero. And he collected, he had, I think it was something, last time I looked, it was like something like 40 to 45 million. He had more money than Oz. Fetterman had more money contributed to his election than Oz put together with Oz's own money involved. So why would this guy, and you're absolutely right, he gave up the show, he put all his own money into it. I mean, if you guys think that he's trying to do something like, he's going to make a lot more money, it's going to take him years to make up $50 million and the money he lost in the show. He really believes in this state, and he really believes in us. And with our help, we can make it happen. And my other obvious choice is Mastriano. Now, I've been a fan of Mastriano a long time. I told you this happened about 3 or 4 years ago when I started to watch his fireside chats on Facebook. And I remember talking to you about it, Jim. I've been talking to you about Mastriano, and you were on the fence, but then you met him. And then when you met him, I know you fell in love with this guy like everybody else.
Well, I think he's another guy that's been pictured as somebody who's an extremist. He's not. Yes, he does have some viewpoints that, are more right than a lot of people. But at the end of the day, for instance, the abortion issue, he's not going to decide that. It's going to be the voters of Pennsylvania, just like every other state. So if you personally feel like abortion's not something you support, that's fine. It's not going to change anything because the voters of Pennsylvania, 70-80% of them believe that there should be abortion in some form up to a certain amount of time. And truth be told, I'm one of those ones that believe that as well. And in fact, I actually am more extreme. I I feel like women should just decide. Now, that's not our Constitution doesn't allow that, but in my estimation, it should be a woman's choice to decide that. If the women vote or Pennsylvania, whatever they decide, and that so be it. And they will absolutely be abortion, of some level, some time frame, regardless of what happens. It's amazing how many people have been blinded by that false advertising that Mastriano's going to do away with abortion. He's not the king. He would be the governor, and it's the voters that would decide that.
Yeah, and actually, it's exactly why Mastriano should be voted in, because Wolf is the kind of guy who says, no, I'm the king. I'm going to make a decision that you have to wear your masks. You can't open your business. All this is unconstitutional, but I don't care about the Constitution anymore. I am going to dictate to you what you have to do, where Mastriano doesn't believe in that at all. He believes in the Constitution. He believes that people should vote, and he believes that people should be a republic democracy, which is exactly what we are, and why people should have a voice. He's not going to shut that voice down. So whatever your views are on abortion, he's going to listen to them. It doesn't matter what his views are. He's not the dictator. And I think that's very important.
Right.
Wolf was the dictator.
Yeah, it is funny how, people have a short memory. I mean, it was just a year and a half ago that we were shut down. I know my business lost $15 million in revenue in a 16-month time period. I'm fortunate we're still open. Schools were shut down. Kids weren't learning. And here we are fixed on a lot of voters, not as many as you would think, but even the Democrats want you to think it's a lot more than it is. But, women are running to the poll to vote Democrat because they're afraid they're going to lose their right to abortion, which is exactly incorrect. So they're missing the big picture problems, which is crime, inflation, and drugs that are ravaging our state. Dealing with an issue that isn't an issue. That is not an issue, and it's just amazing to me that people can just be gaslighted so bad that they don't understand what can and can't happen in a state or with their government.
Yeah, even on our side, when people say they're going to take our guns away, they're not going to take our guns away. I mean, I realize that.
No.
Even I remember the sweeping bill that went through Congress, and all they did was basically say that now they could look at records of somebody who was under 18 if they apply for a gun license, which personally I think is a great idea. I just happen to like the idea. I think it's a smart idea, but they called that sweeping, and that was the biggest move they made to try to change the Second Amendment. Ridiculous. So again, it's going to be the same thing, and I agree with you.
I mean,
what's that?
It's going to be a tight election. I mean, the bottom line on the Oz side, I don't know the numbers on the Mastriano side, but I can tell you Oz is basically maybe up a point. It's in the margin of error, so he could literally be behind. It's going to behove everybody out there. If you're a Dr. Oz supporter and you want to hold the Senate or win back the Senate for Republicans, we got to win in Pennsylvania on Tuesday, and that's going to require everybody to vote and everybody to get their friends to vote and get their friends to get their friends to vote, because it's going to be a turnout election. The shame of it, we already have enough votes, but if everybody showed up, but sadly, in a midterm election, 35 to 40% of the people will not get to the polls that are Republican voters. I just shake my head, and I don't know. They don't realize that this country was founded on to give them the right to decide with a vote where their country's headed. And you have 35, 40% of the people that won't make the 20-minute effort to go vote on Tuesday. If they do, though, we get out more of theirs than they do. We win, and we could turn this country around and solve the three things I mentioned earlier: crime, inflation, and open borders, and the fentanyl, the stuff that comes into Pennsylvania, the drugs. Everybody knows somebody that's died of drugs and overdoses, and it's just sad. This is really a defining moment, I think, Larry, in our country's history.
Absolutely.
If we can't win Pennsylvania, I think we might as well. I know I'll be packing it in. I won't be spending any more time on national and state races, because this guy Fetterman is the most. And I told this to the President Trump 2 weeks ago when I was down in Florida. This candidate Fetterman is the most radical left candidate in the history of American policy, running in the worst political and economic environment in the history of elections. I mean, things can't get any worse for the Democrats between him and what's going on with our nation. And if they win Pennsylvania, a quality guy like Oz, I mean, who can win in the future? Nobody.
Yeah, I agree. And,
nobody.
It comes down to, of course, election integrity and if they really happen. But you're right. Matter of fact, I think you need to have a sign on your door at the Newtown Athletic Club on Tuesday that says, if you don't have a sticker that says I voted, you're not allowed in.
Well, I do believe, and I believe everybody should vote. I mean, even the other side. If you feel that's stolen, get out. It's we fought for that right to have a representative government, and too many people take it for granted. When people fall asleep at the wheel, and then things go the other way. And by the way, once the cat's out of the bag, you're not getting it back in. So, listen, Larry, I wanted to check in with you. Thanks for what you're doing, buddy, and. Yeah, I appreciate it, and have a great day, and get everybody out to vote.
I appreciate you, man. You're an awesome guy, and thank you for all you've done this year to get people to change this state. I really appreciate you, man. Talk to you soon.
Thank you, Larry.
Thanks.
Thank you.
All right, we also got Mark in Philly. What's going on, Mark? You still there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Did you listen to Jim? Isn't Jim?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can. What's going on, man? Do you want to yell at Glenn, or you want to say how much you like Jim?
Well, I'm listening to Larry. Is Larry still?
That's me. You're talking to me right now.
Talk to me or no?
Yeah, it's me right now.
Oh, okay. I don't like this Mastriani not one little bit.
Oh, no.
Okay?
Why
not? Not even a little bit.
Okay. Why not?
Because I know he's a Jew hater, and I'm Jewish.
Oh, my God. Don't say he's
a
Jew
Nazi
hater.
lover.
He is not. Oh, my
he's
God.
He's a Nazi lover.
I can't believe you could say this stuff. First of all, what is my last name?
I know it for a fact. I know it for a fact.
Mark.
Now, even worse than him is Tom Wolfe. Tom Wolfe is despicable. Despicable.
Okay. Well, at least I know you're not just a blind Democrat.
Became governor. I've been around. I'm 70 years old.
Right.
He is the worst governor ever in the history of Pennsylvania. Possibly the worst governor ever in the history of the United States.
Could be. No, actually, I think what's his name?
I'm an amputee, and I've been trying to get durable medical equipment. There's no shot because he trimmed the budget so badly that the schools are the number one people that are suffering. Anything to do with the schools, it's ridiculous to have 80-year-old schools.
All right, so Mark, I got to roll you back to this hatred of Mastriano. What's my last name?
I wouldn't vote for him if he was the only candidate running.
Hold on. I asked you a question. What's my last name? Do you know it?
I have no idea. It's the first time I've ever listened to you.
That's right. It's Steinhouse. All right? So with a name like Steinhouse, do you think I'm Jewish?
Could be Jewish, could be German.
Well,
I have no clue.
It's obviously German, but it's obviously Jewish as well. I've met with Mastriano. Mastriano and I are friends. So if he's such a Jew hater, I have a funny feeling he wouldn't be my friend. So I'm going to challenge you on that. I'm going to ask you to go back and actually look back and stop listening to the left propaganda because it's absolutely untrue. He's one of the kindest people you'll ever meet.
How could a guy who's an early dementia person be running this country?
Well, it's fine. That's Biden, but I'm talking about Mastriano. He is absolutely not a Nazi or a Jew hater. I mean, you may not like him. I don't care, but calling him that is absolutely not true. So I'm going to leave it at that.
Let me talk about Oz versus Fetterman. Let me talk about Oz versus Fetterman.
Hey, real quick.
Might have to change the name of the show,
I can't stand either one of them.
What's that? Hold on.
Might have to change the name of the show.
Oz versus Fetterman.
You what?
Oz kills 300 puppy dogs. Nobody.
Oh, stop that! All right,
300.
All you're doing is listening to ridiculous propaganda. Stop it. Stop it. Go back and do some research. I do research before I do my stories. I do a show every day. It's on politics and money every day. It's called Money Chat Now. I do it on the internet, and it's at 7:30, 8 o'clock, and I hear this stuff, and I go back and I research and I look for the truth. Look, and there's no truth to this whatsoever. There was a study that was done that the people doing the study, yes, they did something with dogs and they possibly killed them. I don't even know the exact story, but there was Dr. Oz, all he had to do was sign off on the study. He had nothing to do with killing the dogs. He had nothing to do with funding the study. It had nothing to do with anything. Trust me, what you're hearing is ridiculous propaganda, and they're pulling at whatever they can pull out to make this guy look bad. It's all untrue. All right, anyway, Mark, I got to let you go because we got to move on to something else. And in fact, we have to move on to a commercial. So, Glenn, we'll bring you guys back in a couple of minutes. Run those commercials. This is Larry Steinhouse from Investor. Welcome back to Investor Schooling Live. This is Larry Steinhouse. All right, so what should we change the show to, Glenn? This show, it shouldn't be Investor Schooling Live. What should we call it? The Politics with Larry Steinhouse or something?
I don't know. I mean, maybe it should be the Mark Show. That was Mark, right?
Oh, yeah, that was Mark. Yeah, right.
Mark.
the Mark I Hate Masciano show. Yeah, exactly, right.
The Puppies and Mark Hour.
Puppies and Mark Hour. There we go. All right. So anyway, welcome back to Investor Schooling Live, and we're doing a special election edition because we got 3 days to the election. Tuesday is the day that you get to make a choice to change the path of America, and if you choose correctly, you will change the path of America. You will not let us be locked out of our houses. I mean, locked out of our businesses or locked out of our gyms, as Jim Worthington said the other day. You won't be locked out of schools. Your kids won't be forced to wear masks or get vaccines that you may or may not believe in. It doesn't matter if you believe in the vaccine or not. It doesn't matter if you like the vaccine or think the vaccine harms you or don't think the vaccine harms you. What matters is you have a choice as a parent and say, hey, I want my kid to have a vaccine or I don't want my kid to have a vaccine. It's none of the school's business whether they can and they cannot be allowed to force you into this vaccine or anything else that they force your kid into. And you should have the choice of what your child learns, not the teacher saying, "Hey, we're going to teach you this today, and if you don't agree with it, it's too bad. Come back to school tomorrow. You're going to be a truant." It's really bad what happened, and the school boards are all getting flack back from the parents, and they should get flack back from the parents. All right, I'm sorry. We had okay. So just so you guys know, I think this is crazy. I think we have to absolutely vote and vote the right way. I don't know. You should I put on my rant from the other day?
Oh yeah.
All right, so I'm going to do this so you guys know. So if you guys want to look this up, I have a show online. It's called Money Chat Now. It's on every day at 7:30 to 8 o'clock, and I did a rant the other day. we had to bleep a couple of things out, so we did. So I want you to hear this rant. I think you'll get a kick out of it, and I think you'll understand exactly what I'm talking about right now. Let me play it for you. I say that every time Biden speaks, it either makes me cringe because his gaffes are so bad, or it annoys me because all he does is yell and prove to be a dictator. Well, last night was no different when he went on the warpath, telling you and I and the rest of America that he and his cronies are the route to follow to save democracy. I'm not even going to go down the path of the fact that we're a republic and not a democracy. I will instead talk about the freedom that he and the Democrats continue to steal each day. Do you remember a year ago when we were all being forced to take a shot of an untested drug? Do you remember how we couldn't fly or travel without a vaccine passport? Or how the fact that our businesses were shut down, our playgrounds were shut down, we weren't even allowed to work or leave our houses. We were denied our basic freedoms. I can't bring up the elections, and that's what really happened because YouTube and Facebook will shut me down. Oh yes, this is more of the same as the government continues to control freedom of speech with their pressure. So now I'm stuck using the moniker election integrity instead of the truth. And now and you guys know what the truth really is. Well, last night Biden, you know what I mean, that president that got more votes in the history of all voting in America, said in his speech that, and I quote, "It's estimated that there are more than 300 election deniers on the ballot across America this year. We can't ignore the impact this is having on our country. It's damaging, it's corrosive, it's destructive." No, Biden, they're correct. But I can't say that because I'll be shut down by you and your reach into corporate America running the this country has become. Of course, Biden used the attack on Paul Pelosi to say that it's the mega Republicans' fault that he was attacked and it was an act of intimidation on the part of the MAGA people to change the election. He actually had the nerve to say this next. This intimidation, this violence against Democrats, Republicans, and nonpartisan officials just doing their job are the consequences of lies told for power and profit, lies of conspiracy and malice, lies repeated over and over to generate a cycle of anger, hate, vitriol, and even violence. Wow. How do you say that when you're doing it by saying that? Biden continues in his angry voice, "In this moment, we have to confront these lies with the truth." How about telling the truth, the real truth, not the made-up truth that you and the pack of wolves spew each day? The divider in charge also had the nerve to use this as a unification speech. He actually said, "We need to start looking out for each other again, seeing ourselves as the people, not entrenched enemies." He continued, "This is a choice we can make. Disunion and chaos are not inevitable. There's been anger in America before, there's been division in America before, but we never give up on American experiment, and how do we do that now?" Hey, dictator, we aren't giving up, Air Biden. We're trying to rescue the American dream. No, not the dream of crashing the border, not the dream of sitting in front of a television and collecting an extra $600 a week. No, not the dream of being told that we can only do as you and your minion of devil-worshipping thugs say we can do. You know, the real American dream, as governed by something that you and the Democrats have long forgotten. It's called the United States Constitution. It is what we'll be fighting for this coming Tuesday. God help this country if we can't take it back. Take it back and restore the freedom we once had. Take it back and restore election integrity. Take it back and stop being told that we have to accept the government's idea of how our children should be raised. Take it back and stop the tyranny and anarchy that you, Biden, and the rest of the anti-American liberal Democrats have been destroying like a cancer from within. I laugh when people bring up the argument of freedom of choice when they press for the right for an abortion. They say we're suppressing women's right by not letting them kill their child. Well, I'm for equal rights, and the first right is the right to be born. I guess this issue explains it all. If you don't give people the right to be born, how could you expect the government to give them the right to be free? Maybe that's how we fell into this trap the past 3 years. You have a choice on Tuesday. The choice is to be free or be a slave to your government. You have a choice on Tuesday to be heard or silently be silenced by the government who laughs at you when you complain. You have a choice to vote or be intimidated by the Nazi regime known as the Democrat Party. Do we want to be ruled by a dictator party or the party of freedom? Make sure you vote. Yes, I know you're concerned about fraud. Election integrity, because I can't say that online. But try it just in case it actually works. I'm not sure it will either, but I'm convinced that if we don't try it, we will certainly lose everything that's left in this society. Everything we hold near and dear to our hearts. How about, I don't understand how half this country can be so easily fooled. It's beyond me. But we have to help them like you would help someone drowning while they kick and splash and bring you down with them. Don't worry if people continue to be blind. Make sure you vote and make sure this red wave happens. If not, the end of this country just keeps getting closer. On a final note, I sure hope the Republicans have learned their lesson this time, and the lesson is not to be so passive anymore. I gotta be honest, even I've been complicit. I never really cared before. That is until I saw the country become ruled by dictators like Biden, Murphy, Newsom, and Wolf. Don't let the dictators win anymore. Oh, and as for you Democrats, are you really proud of what your party has become? The party of pure hate, division, and tyranny? Wow. Promise me that if you're watching this, you'll go vote for the team that will free us from the thought police, free us from the dictatorship, and free us from being held hostage by other countries controlling our energy. And finally, free us into the freedom that we are promised by the Constitution of the United States. Vote for freedom on Tuesday. What do you think, Glenn? You think they're going to throw me off the air now?
I think you should run for office. That's amazing. Yeah, that's amazing.
Did I convince you to vote?
Almost. I may be out there on Tuesday.
All right. Well, if I convince you to vote with that, then it was all worth it. It was absolutely worth it. I love it. So I understand there is a Marianne in Philly on the line, and she wants to talk to me about Oz and the dogs. Oh, boy. We're going to have to argue with her. What's going on, Marianne?
I don't think so.
All right, good.
Hi, Larry.
How are you?
Hi, Larry. Okay. No, I am disabled, but I am still going over in person to vote.
Awesome.
Okay. And I'm voting for the right party.
All right.
I'm Mastriano and Oz.
Yes. Do it.
Yes. Absolutely. Anyway, a little pushback on Mark about Dr. Oz and the dogs.
Yeah.
Okay. That commercial was put together by the Democrats to make Oz look like the bad guy.
Yep.
And the dogs in the commercial were beagles. And if you want to see, what they did was they pulled a piece from Dr. Fauci's
That's right.
spot.
That's right. That's exactly right. They pulled a piece from Dr. Fauci.
Dr.
That's right.
Fauci's spot, and they put it in there because OAN News did a write-up on Fauci on November 28, 21, One American News, November 28, 21. He can look that up, and he'll see exactly what they saw in the commercial on that show.
That's awesome. I'm so
Are you
so
still
glad
there?
Yeah, I'm so glad you called
Yeah.
and
there's also a site. There's also a website that'll show it all to Mark, and then maybe he'll stop watching CNN.
Yeah, he might not be watching CNN. He might be just watching the commercials. Because I got to tell you, I don't watch a lot of TV, but every once in a while I watch some of these commercials, and I'm like, wow, this is so distorted. The Fetterman commercials. Did you see the Fetterman commercial where his parents came on and said, "We're Trump Republicans, and we are parents of Fetterman"? Really? That just shows you how you abused your child.
Oh, listen. You know what I heard Biden say about Pennsylvania?
What's that?
He said Fetterman is, with his hoodie and the way he dresses. He said Fetterman is Pennsylvania.
Oh, yeah.
So he equates the hoodie and the way he dresses to all of us in Pennsylvania.
He was thinking about Philadelphia, not Pennsylvania.
Well, Philadelphia anyway.
Yeah, it's a good point. I agree. Marianne, you're wonderful. Thank you so much for calling. I really appreciate you.
Do you want his site?
Oh, yeah, sure. What is it?
All right. It's www. B as in boy, F as in Frank, P as in Paul, .org. And then Mark can go and look that up and be disgusted to his heart's content.
That'd be great. Okay, Mark, go look that up. And anybody else who has doubts on whether this was real or not, I'm telling you, that's the place to go. You're absolutely right. I did forget that those commercials were the Dr. Fauci thing, but it doesn't sound like Mark's a staunch Democrat. It just sounds like he's believing the propaganda about Oz, and that's not true. I'm telling you, I've met this guy. He's one of the nicest people you'll ever meet. Mastriano, fantastic guy too. You guys have to really, it's sad because there's not enough time for every single person in Pennsylvania to meet the people the way I've met them. And if you met them like that, you're everything would change. Your life would change. I mean, I watch Fetterman. I watch him on TV, and he's a really nice guy. There's no doubt he's a nice guy. I don't know if his heart's in the right place or not, but he comes across like it. But at least go meet the candidates. I don't believe what Fetterman says. I also have watched him. I mean, he was the lieutenant governor with Wolf. So that means that he's just going to follow what Wolf says. I also believe that he's going to follow what Biden says. I don't want that. So that's why I don't want him. I mean, the fact that he had a stroke and he's probably incapable of doing the job is a major part too. But if you take that away, you still have a guy that's going to follow the path of Biden. He's going to follow the path of Wolf. He's going to follow the path of all these other Democrats who basically destroyed people's lives for the last 2 or 3 years. That's what I don't like about him. Do I hope he lives a healthy life and lives through his stroke and everything's fine with him? Yes, absolutely. Would I shake his hand and say, hey, John Fetterman, I appreciate you're a really nice guy. That's great. But I do not want that guy in charge of anything that has to do with anything in my life. That's my problem with him. Mastriano, I absolutely want this guy in charge. He's a fantastic guy, wonderful guy. Dr. Oz, fantastic guy, wonderful guy. You heard Jim Worthington talk about him. Jim Worthington's known him for 6 years, and he's just a fantastic guy. Jim introduced me to him, and again, I think he's a fantastic guy. I think he's right for this state, and I was so glad to see that he won the primary. I was out there making sure that I voted for him, and he won by a slim margin. In fact, a lot of people say it was because of Jim Worthington and how Jim Worthington introduced him to all these people. All right, I'm like all over the place here. This is pretty wild. Did I pass the audition, Glenn?
We'll call you.
Oh, all right. It's so funny. And again, one of the other things, too, I'm telling you, if you vote these Republicans in, your 401k is going to go up. I'm telling you now, your 401k is going to go up. Not because I'm a Republican and not because I want Republicans in. I'm not saying that because I want that. I'm saying that because it's true. If you vote these guys in, your 401k will go up. It'll definitely go down a lot slower than it will if the Democrats continue their regime. You got guys like Elon Musk now. Have you heard all about Elon Musk and Twitter, Glenn?
Yeah, taking a call.
Oh, okay,
Sorry.
you can do that. Okay.
Yeah.
So,
yes, I did hear about it.
Okay,
yes.
so let me just check this. It looks like we got Mike and Amber. Let me get Mike on the line real quick. What's going on, Mike?
Hey, Larry. Listen, I just wanted to thank you for that clear and concise discussion about what's really going on in the country that you just gave a minute or two ago.
Thank you.
It really, really was outstanding, and again, very, very clear that some people, unfortunately, don't understand that exactly what you laid out is what's going on. But it was absolutely outstanding.
Thank you, man. I really appreciate that. It was something
and it wasn't a rant, Larry. It wasn't a rant. It was a discussion about the current setup of things in the country.
Excellent, man. Hey, listen, if you want to, you can watch my show in the morning. That's the kind of stuff I discuss on my show. That and money. It's kind of fun. I actually go pretty deep into it. So if you want to watch my show, it's on Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, YouTube. You can go to Money Chat Now on Facebook. You can find it there, like the page there. Or you could also go to YouTube and try to find it there. But I get thrown off YouTube all the time. I got to the point where it's funny. YouTube sends me an email almost every day. Would you like to get a paid prescription to YouTube? And I'm like, not only do I not want a paid prescription to YouTube, I want you to just leave me alone and let me talk.
I don't get that at all. I don't get those.
You don't get the paid prescription one? Subscription one?
I guess they say, you can get it. The ads where they say you can watch without ads and no. Just come on, go right past that.
So I have like 4 YouTube channels left. I used to have 8. They've shut down 4 of them. They shut down my main YouTube, actually, so now I'm building others. Luckily I have a whole bunch of Gmail accounts and I can do that. But, it's terrible what they're doing. And I was mentioning before we were talking to Mike about Twitter taking over, about Elon Musk taking over Twitter. And it's great because now maybe there'll be some freedom of speech. Maybe they won't, but maybe they will be. I don't know if he's going to be able to maintain this, but he's been getting a lot of flack. He's been having civil liberties companies calling, agencies or groups calling him and saying, if you don't stop this, if you don't keep the people off that we want off, we're going to make sure that nobody can advertise on Twitter. I mean, this is the kind of threats he's getting. It's horrible. let people be free. That's what we have. We have a constitution that makes us free. Stop allowing these Democrats to take away our freedom. It's unbelievable. And the Democrats are like, oh, we're okay with it because if as long as we don't have to hear what we don't want to hear, we're okay with it. Well, I don't care if a Democrat talks about their side of the story. That's fine. We heard that before when I had a conversation with Mark about Mastriano. We had a civil conversation. He's out of his mind, but we had a civil conversation. That's what this world should be. It should be civil conversations, or even if they're not civil, fine. It doesn't mean that you can go around and telling somebody you can't say that anymore. You can't say things like election integrity was the only thing I can say. You know what that means, right? I can't say it. I can't say what that means because I'm actually transmitting right now on YouTube, and they'll shut me down. So I can't even say it. I know I could probably say it on the radio. I'm not even sure if I can say it on the radio. I listen to people like Sean Hannity, and I listen to people like even Rich Zioli on PhD, and I listen to them, and I hear them, and I can hear it in their voice that they're muting some of the things that they want to say because either management is saying they can't say it, or the government is saying they can't say it, or someone's whispering in their ear and saying, we're not going to advertise with you if you say this exact thing. And, again, that maybe that's paranoia on my part.
Well, what do they call that? They call that a chilling effect, right?
Yeah, exactly. Chilling? And you hear it. You're producing other shows.
Absolutely.
You hear it in the other shows. And I didn't realize it at first until it started happening to me with my little nothing show that no one listens to. I've noticed it happening to me now, that I'm being told what I can say and what I can't say. It's not that management's knocking on my door and saying, hey, Larry, you can't say that. I'm not even sure if, I'll be honest with you, I'm not even sure if PhD's going to like what I did today. I mean, I did it because I want to do it. I want to talk about how we can make this world better, because that's more important to me than making money, is how to make the world better, how to make the country better. It's more important to me. So that's why I did what I did today. Will I be on the air next week? I don't know. If I'm not on the air, then you could you write to PhD and say, hey, how dare you? I mean, they've taken a couple of my shows off because I got on some political sides here and there, and they said, no, we're not going to run that show again, and don't ever do it again. Now,
he's gotten me in trouble.
I've gotten you in trouble.
Yeah,
and
right. I'm just doing nothing. I'm minding my business.
Because, I'm supposed to be doing just stuff on finances, and that's what they expect. But here's the deal. I also believe that if you vote correctly, your finances will be better. And that's part of the reason why I do this, because it really will. It will make a big difference. It will make a big difference in your finances if you vote properly. If your finances are that you want to be on unemployment and get an extra $600 a week and stay home, well, guess what? That is your choice too. You can make that vote too. All right, we got about 15 seconds. I really appreciate you, Glenn. You were awesome today. Make sure you go out there and vote. I'm hoping that I convinced you to vote. I also want to thank my in-house producer, Mike Kuiper, who's been really quiet during this, actually. He's been doing a great job transmitting us to Facebook, LinkedIn, and Twitter. And don't forget to come to investorschooling.com and take a class this Thursday. I will see you then.